Whatever you're doing right now, make sure you stop. If you're driving, especially do this. Or if you're in your house, whatever. Just lean out the window and yell the RR show. Subscribe now. Just do that for me because we want to spread the love about this show. So thank you for doing that and looking like a total weirdo. Vince here, and yeah, we've got some fun stuff today. This is another mixed bag episode. We're going to end this episode with Tales from the Front Desk. That's always a delightful subreddit. Then we got second to last will be Petty Revenge. I see some entitled parents in this episode. But first, we're going to start with one that we don't get to often. This story comes from r/confessions. Posted by user AdSilver9390. My mom is dating my half-brother. The first thing I have to clarify, my half-brother is my dad's child from a previous relationship. Relevant people. Mom, 40-year-old female. Dad, dead. Would have been 55-year-old male. Half-brother, we'll call him G, 30-year-old male. Now on to the actual story. My dad died 8 years ago when I was 7. My mom recently got a divorce with her husband of 2 years. G has always been shy and never really talked to people he was interested in. So obviously, I was excited when he started telling me about a new person he was talking to a few days ago. He didn't say her name, but he was very clearly excited and I was happy for him. My mom also seemed happier than usual, so I was feeling very upbeat. Today, I found them kissing in the kitchen, and I was genuinely shocked. I mean, is that the normal reaction to finding your half-brother and your mom kissing? They noticed me. My brother explained that my mom is the person he was talking about. I feel disgusted. My mom has known my brother since he was 13 and she was 23. My brother's mom left them when he was 7. And he always saw my mom as a mother figure. What am I supposed to feel? Am I supposed to just live with this? He's happy. My mom's happy. But I think it's weird. I really don't know. Am I wrong for feeling disgusted? From r/entitled parents, posted by user Playful Mountain Fox. Entitled mom told me disabled people shouldn't go in public if we don't want to be stared at. Needed context. I, a 23-year-old female, am a service handler to a red tri Aussie. She's a pretty dog and gains us a lot of attention. So I'm very used to gently educating about why you should interrupt or distract service dogs. Typically just a, hey please don't distract service dogs, or even telling my dog, but more so just saying out loud, ignore it, does the trick. I have a heart condition, POTS for those that know it, that causes me to faint. And she alerts prior to fainting so they don't fall and get injured or at worst, die. This day while walking around, I hear cooing and cawing from somewhere nearby, loud enough to be from a good distance, and clearly an adult voice. Out of curiosity, I look around and see a woman, not much older than myself, with a small child in a shopping cart, pointing out to my dog. I smiled at them, seeing the kid and not minding the lady at that point. Usually, parents point out to us to teach their kids about service dogs or to call my dog pretty. I did need to go down the aisle they were in, but I figured it wouldn't be an issue. As soon as I walked closer, the mom started raising her voice, while still baby talking to her kid, saying things like, ooh, look at the puppy coming closer. And isn't that puppy so cute? Nothing bad, but she was incredibly loud for being right next to me at this point, and her kid wasn't looking. This displeased the mom, so she started to move her cart to force her kid to look at my dog. And I spoke up because she was now blocking where I was trying to go. Please don't block my path, I'm just trying to shop like anyone else. This lady was not happy with being told this. Without skipping a beat, she turned her face and it was a deep red, and she was screaming at the top of her lungs in the store. "I'm sorry, I just wanted my kid to admire the pretty puppy." And I'll admit, this frazzled me. I wasn't expecting her to turn so angry so quickly, especially since I thought I'd been relatively nice explaining why I didn't want her to move her cart just for her kid to see my dog. I responded along the lines of, "You're more than allowed to look. Just please don't block us from shopping. And it's not going to teach kids to point and yell at service dogs. It can distract them from their job. If she misses an alert, I could get really hurt." And I get yet another mind-blowing response. The reason why I'm making this post. The lady screamed back, and now with people watching because we were quite close to the front of the store, "We have eyes. My daughter and I are allowed to look at your dog. If you disabled people are so bothered by being stared at, don't come out in public." I was so shocked at first. I didn't even know how to respond. I eventually just stared at her for a second, silently, before saying, "Wow, I'm so glad people like you are raising kids." Because remember, this happened in front of her small child. I honestly wanted to avoid any more confrontation, so I turned to rush to check out while the mom was busy screaming something else that I ignored. Luckily, she didn't follow, and I shared looks of "WTF even was that?" with other people who had seen her outburst. Luckily, my dog was unfazed. I gave her extra treats once we left the store just to reward her for being such a good girl. In this mixed bag episode, we have got one from r/petty revenge. Posted by user Zero's Wolf. "Throw me away like trash? Watch me getting chosen over you." Disclaimers: English is not my first language. Video production is a part of the revenge and not mentioned for self-advertisement. It was the end of November 2021 when my boyfriend of 13 years decided to break up with me out of nowhere. He never gave me any reason, nor did he want to talk it out or go to couples counseling. So he basically threw me away like trash during a move into an apartment and into a new life, which he had planned together until that moment. To keep things short, I was devastated to the point that I had to enter a medical facility, as I did not trust myself for a while. I could not fathom why he did it, and everybody we knew was just as surprised as me when they heard the news. It took me a month to accept he won't come back to me, and after I returned to the outside world, I finished my bachelor's degree and started freelancing as I had planned to do for several years at that point. I worked hard to become successful, ironically, working on a project that's one of his favorites. I'm a bit of a casual gamer, and out of boredom, I started streaming my gaming session back in January of this year, 2024. While I'm not popular, I have some people to chat with while doing my thing, and that's fine by me. Weirdly enough, after I started streaming, my ex also did so. Can't be certain if it's a coincidence or not. But here comes the kicker. Some acquaintances of the both of us checked out my recordings after I'd posted them on Twitter. I will never call it X. They owned a small streaming community themselves in the past, and my ex and I used to hang around in their chat and got involved with them during events. They're currently running a Let's Play channel in my country's language on a certain popular video platform and chose me over my ex to become a part of their team, despite him being closer with them and the better gamer. It felt so good being told that my streams were more fun to watch and his are just boring. They and others also keep me in the loop about my ex's living situation, and it seems things didn't go as planned for him and he's constantly losing friends. This past week, the first series of videos have been uploaded and are receiving a lot of positive response. I hope my ex sees them and recognizes the giant middle finger they are to him. Call me petty, but I'm proud to have been chosen above him. My freelance work is going well. I picked up new activities, meet new people, made new friends, and am generally enjoying life to its fullest. The best kind of revenge there is. This one and final story for this episode coming from Tales from the Front Desk. This one is posted by user MStarBranigan. Sir, I told you you're not going to be able to check in. A man got dropped off by an Uber, then came up to the front desk and said, I saw you have rooms for $56. Which was news to me because our rate is $90 after tax tonight, and I told him this along with our credit card requirement and security deposit. He asked if I could match the rice wine rate, and I apologized and said I couldn't, but said it was fine if he wanted to take a moment and book it there. He decided that's what he was going to do and lingered around the desk fiddling with his phone. Meanwhile, the desk phone rang and I answered and quoted the caller the rate for Friday, which is a bonkers rate because of an event in town. After I hung up, the guy in the lobby laughed and said he wasn't going to be here on Friday because he doesn't have that much for a room and he doesn't have a credit card for a deposit. I realized he must not have been paying attention when I quoted him the very same deposit earlier and clarified that the deposit would be required of him when he checked in. He laughed and pointed at his phone and reminded me that he was booking online. I told him that regardless of how he booked, he'd still have to pay the same deposit using a credit card or a major bank card. He just chuckled and waved me off dismissively, so I shrugged and let him make his own dumb choices. A few minutes later, he complained to me that he was having trouble booking online because it kept changing the dates on him. I suggested maybe the rate he wanted was only for a specific date, or it didn't exist, but I didn't say that out loud. A few minutes of me awkwardly sitting at the desk passed as he did the boomer stare at his phone over his glasses while standing at the desk directly in front of me. Eventually, he said he booked it, and I saw a new reservation pop up a moment later and confirmed his name. I asked for his ID and his card for the deposit. His face fell. Guy, I told you I don't have my credit card here. Me, and I told you I would need it in order to check you in. It also says it on rice wine. He argued that it did, and I invited him to hand me his phone, so I scrolled over on our page on rice wine to show him exactly where it did in fact say that. He sighed and said, fine, I have my credit card number, and showed me a credit card number written out on a scrap of paper. He did this while standing directly next to a sign that states we don't take tap to pay, pictures of credit cards, or any card that's not physically present at the hotel. I've had guests laugh that we have the sign, and they always look horrified when I inform them we have the sign because of how often I have to tell people, no, I can't accept this picture of your credit card. He then went through the various prepaid cards in his wallet, asking me if we took any of them, even as I repeatedly told him we don't take debit cards that have not been issued by a bank. Eventually, he accepted defeat and then had to go through the rigmarole of calling rice wine to get his money back. I don't like turning folks away. It's awkward and uncomfortable for everyone involved. I don't know what this guy expected to happen. We really appreciate you being with us on today's show. The RR Show is a production of Evergreen Podcast and Wessler Media. Now, if you'd be so kind, follow or subscribe to the show if you haven't already. And if you also haven't done already, please leave us a very nice 5-star review. Thanks, Mom. Also, for more, you can visit rrshow.com. That's rrshow.com. I'm your host, Vince. My producer, Kevin, thank you. We'll see you next time.